Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are all doing well. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can make your makeup last and things that you can do that are going to help prolong the wear of your makeup. Now, I have been searching and trying to figure this out for years. I used to really suffer with my makeup. I would spend ages doing my makeup in the morning. I would leave and within 2 hours my whole makeup was just gone, or it was patchy. It was almost like it magically slid off my face. And it's frustrating not only when you A, spend a lot of money on makeup and it doesn't last, but B, when you spend all that time, effort, you get up early, because we all know that, you know, sleep is a very special thing. We don't want to be getting up early if our makeup is just going to come off our face. Now, something I feel like I always need to say is I'm not a professional makeup artist. I am just sharing my tips with you. You don't have to do them. I always find with makeup especially, it's very trial and error. Like for me personally, I'll never follow a full makeup tutorial. It's very rare because there are things that work for that person and that person's skin, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for me. What I always recommend is if you want to try something new and really see if it works, maybe pick out one of the things that you want to try it for a day, see how it works. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. And if it does, then fantastic, keep it in your routine. My skin is kind of oily to combination. I get like oily in like the T-zone area, sometimes on my chin, but then I can get dry patches. I always find with your makeup lasting, it depends on things like the weather. It depends on what you're doing that day. So whether you're being really active or whether you're actually just sitting. It depends on as well how my skin feels the morning I wake up. I can wake up sometimes and my skin just feels amazing, and sometimes it just feels rubbish. So again, I'm just going to talk you through some tips. Let me know if you guys have come across any pointers as well, because I would love to know them. And let's just get started. Okay, so the first thing I found when it comes to makeup, one really important factor is to prep the skin. Prepping your skin before you put makeup on can make the biggest difference. Now again, this is going to be different for every skin type. If you've got really dry skin, you're going to want to use a lot of heavy moisturisers, something to really moisturise the skin so that when you put foundation on, it doesn't go patchy. But if you've got oily skin, you're obviously not going to want to do the same step, because then what's going to happen is your face is just going to feel really oily and horrible and your makeup will feel nasty. So what I like to do personally is start off by just giving the face a little clean. How you do this will depend on when you're doing your makeup in the day. If I'm doing it in the morning, I'll wash my face and then go ahead and put a moisturiser on. If I'm like halfway through the day or doing my makeup in the evening, I will just use a purifying pad. You can get these from Primark, Superdrug, Boots, just to wipe the skin, just to get any sweat, dirt, excess, that kind of thing off, just so that you're starting the makeup with a complete fresh base. So I'm going to use a lip moisturiser first of all. This is the Blistex intensive one. I talk about this all the time. Using a lip balm before doing your makeup is a great idea if you're going to be putting lipstick on, because if you think about it, if your lips are dry, flaky, and just really uncomfortable, then the makeup isn't going to sit nice and it's not going to last either. And then I like to take a really light day moisturiser. So I've got my Anew one here. This is just from Avon. You can use any moisturiser, and like I say, I'm just using a light one because I don't want anything too heavy on my face. What I will also say is, for me, when I put moisturisers on, and you'll see me do it in a second with my primer, I like to let it go into the skin. I'm not going to be putting on a moisturiser or a primer and then going ahead with my foundation straight away. What I like to do is give it a couple of minutes, whether that be a time you then go and brush your teeth, a time that you perhaps just do something for 5 minutes, make yourself a drink, whatever it is, but just give that product time to set into the skin. I'm going to take a primer. Now again, the type of primer will completely depend on your skin type. I love to use an illuminating primer because I just feel like it really adds a little something. Just adds a little something. I never used to use primers. I know that not all makeup artists say that you need a primer. Completely agree. I think that if you don't want to use a primer or you don't have one, just use a moisturiser. I don't agree that it's always a great idea to just put makeup straight on your skin without any product. Again, I just think that A, your makeup sits a lot better. It looks a lot more flawless with something underneath, and it does last longer. But like I said, it doesn't have to be a primer, it can just be a moisturiser. And again, give that a couple of minutes. Don't go ahead and apply product straight to the face. Give it a second, let it do its work. Foundation. For me, Finding a good foundation, again, has taken a really long time. I like a full coverage foundation. The reason being is just for me, I've found that lasts the longest. If I have more coverage on my face, it holds a lot longer. Might not be the case for everyone, but for me, certainly it is. I also find a foundation with an SPF in also seems to last longer. Again, I don't know why, but it just does. Now, what I like to do is take a bit of the foundation and I start off by applying it with a brush, because I also do think the application has a difference on how it lasts. Again, I'm not a makeup artist. I don't know if this is all correct or accurate, if you like, in terms of how makeup works, in terms of the science. These are just things I've tested out. And again, I say in every video, take that foundation down to the neck. There is nothing worse than foundation lines where you haven't put it onto your neck. So I like to pat the product into the skin rather than pull it across the face. And once I've got that foundation in place, I will take a setting spray. So this is the Urban Decay All Nighter, one of the best setting sprays ever for a long wear hold. I will take my beauty blender and I'm not gonna soak it, I'm just gonna do a couple of spritz and then use that to pat it in the face. So what this will do is not only will it help keep the foundation in place and help it set nicely, but you're obviously patting setting spray into the foundation. It's going to help it last that little bit longer. Blendy, 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 blend. Now, when it comes to eyebrows, I don't really ever have to worry about my eyebrows coming off, to be honest, because they just don't tend to. But again, what I would recommend as an additional step is just a brow gel, something that holds the brow into place, because it will also help hold the product. So I just use the Maybelline Brow Drama. So I'll draw my brows on and then I'll show you what this looks like. So another little thing that I will say is, and I see a lot of, something that will help your makeup and the way your makeup looks, is make sure everything is blended in really well. This is exactly why I will take a brush for foundation and then go in with a beauty blender, because the amount of times I have seen girls do their makeup and they're putting powder on or whatever it is they're doing, and they've not even, like, you can see their foundation is not blended in enough, and you can see like where it's not actually in the skin properly. Obviously that's not going to help, so just make sure as well you are blending everything. I'm not actually doing any eyeshadow today, but if I was, something I found that makes a huge difference is eyeshadow primer. I am a firm believer, and again, because I never used to use it, the eyeshadow primer makes a huge difference. It really does make your eyeshadow not only go on better, but actually last a lot longer as well. Do not use concealer. It is a mistake that I used to do all the time, because to be honest, I just didn't have an eyeshadow primer. But concealer is actually the wrong thing to put on the eye, because it will, the oil from your eyes will break up the concealer, and so it therefore is not a good base. So do not use that. I'm gonna put the concealer on under my eye. So let's do that. I'm using less of this today, if you notice. I'm using my new Infallible more than concealer, one of my favorite concealers at the moment. And again, I'm taking the same beauty blender that had that setting spray on. So it's just gonna add a little bit of an additional set. Why do I still feel like I've used way too much? You like really don't need any of this product. Actually pretty insane. So again, I'm not using false lashes, but something that I used to do that used to help to set the false lashes is put the glue along the strip, blow it or wave it for like 20 seconds and then put it on. Don't ever apply the glue and put it straight on, because you will find that it's not tacky enough and it doesn't stick as well. So then what I also like to do, oh, I've got paint on my arm. What I also like to do to help my makeup last longer is to layer foundation. So I like to also take a foundation stick. So I'm taking the Superstay just to go over the main areas where I want my makeup to last longer. Again, I just feel like if I have fuller coverage in those areas, my makeup will last longer. Again, setting spray and blend. So you can see I'm just patting quite aggressively, actually. Who am I mad at? Who am I mad at? I'm beating my face, but literally. I am just patting that in to the skin rather than dragging it all over the face. It's also not good for aging. Pulling products all over the face is just not good for aging, and we don't want that. I'm not gonna say always, that's a lie. We all have days, like good and bad days, where we do our makeup how we should and would like to, and then makeup how we wouldn't. Like, I normally know if I do my makeup in 10 minutes that it's probably not gonna last as long. If I take my time with it and really think about the products that I'm using on my face, then it will probably last a lot longer. So for setting is key. Powders are one of the most important things for keeping your makeup on. Makes a huge difference if you have a decent powder in comparison to if you have a crappy powder. So what I like to do is start off by taking Laura Mercier. Now you don't have to take this one, you can just take a translucent powder, and I like to take a beauty blender and pop it underneath. Now I'm not banking, let me be clear. I'm not leaving that on for an amount of time. I'm taking the other side and I'm going straight in and I'm patting that product in. Yes, you can use a brush just to kind of blow it out, but again, I just find, and I just don't know how accurate this is, but I just find if I pat it in with a beauty blender, for some reason, it just holds. I don't know if it's because I'm using more product, I'm focusing it more on the area. I don't really know, it just seems to work. Then what I like to do is take a powder foundation, long wear powder. This is the Maybelline long wear waterproof powder, and it definitely does its job. It holds my makeup for an extremely long time. I can literally be sweating and it will not be showing on my face. Like, this is an insane powder, it's really good, guys. So I will take a powder, but again, I won't go, I will blot it in and sweep, blot and sweep. Now you do have to be a little bit careful, because I do find with this method, if the powder is too dark for you, if you haven't moisturized and you say, for example, have really dry skin, you can find this can make you a little patchy. So just be very careful, don't put too much product. You don't need to be going in like this with your powder, just tap it off and pop it on. You don't need to be using a ton of this product. You can see I'm completely matte and it will just keep everything in place. But again, another thing, make sure your powder is pushed in. You don't want to be looking like the powder is sitting on top of the skin, because it's not going to do you any benefit at all. At all. Okay, I'm just going to pop on my mascara and we will move on. Get it on my face every time. Doesn't matter how careful. I've really become like a minimalist with my makeup lately. I don't know why, I just feel like sometimes less is more. It's nice to have that nice dewy, lightweight look sometimes. So I'm gonna do my contour and my highlight. Contour, to be honest, with it lasting kind of just, again, depends on how I've you know, based the face and how I've applied everything. Again, with contour, it's really important to make sure you have powdered correctly, because if you don't, you could end up with bits where you haven't put powder and it can go patchy, it cannot blend very well. I'm just going to do a quick contour whilst we're on camera. So yeah, making your contour last, again, just really depends on how you've really set the face. I don't feel like you should need to do any additional steps. If you have started off the face correctly with the base and everything and the powder, then the contour should nicely sit on top. I did used to have contour that used to go really patchy, but that was because I wasn't using a decent powder, and I found as soon as I changed my powder, my contour blended much more nicely, it sat on the face much more nicely. So I do believe that the beginning, so again, like the skin, getting the skin ready and everything like that, is just where it begins, really. I need a drink, I'm getting a sore throat. Like, I've seen people do some really crazy things. Put oil on their face after they've done their makeup. I've seen them like soak their brushes with setting spray before putting on highlight. Don't get me wrong, like these are all things you can do, but for me personally, when I've tried doing those things, my makeup's just ruined. My highlight then goes patchy. I just don't feel it's that necessary to need to take those steps. You could do, and don't get me wrong, for some people, they probably do work. But for me, whenever I've tried following other YouTubers doing things like that, it just hasn't worked out for me. It just goes wrong and then I have to start again, and no one wants to do that. So I'm gonna take my highlight. I'm going to take Can't Even. Now, I actually watched a YouTuber the other day, Robert? I wanna say Robert, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name, I'm awful. I recently subscribed to him, and he's fantastic because he really talks about, you know, not just what people tell you you should be doing, which is why I wanted to make that very clear on here, because everyone is different. When it comes to highlight, don't follow what people say where you should put it. Like, it's different for everyone. So for me, for example, I like to put it along here and put it up here, because when the light hits me, it hits this section. That's what I like to do. But for some people, if your face shape is different, your highlight's going to be different. The whole idea of highlighter is to highlight those areas where the light would normally hit. So yeah, you do want to highlight your cheekbone, but everyone's cheekbones are going to be in different places, at different heights, you know. Some people, for example, put loads on their Cupid's bow. I can't do that because if I do that, it looks like I've eaten highlighter instead of actually putting it in the right place. But I also get this nice brow here. I get like a little bit of light highlight there. So I just like to tap a little bit, but again, don't go crazy, because we've all had them days where you've done your makeup, you've got in your car, you've looked in the mirror and gone, are you sure that's where you should have been putting that makeup? Like I said, sometimes less is more. You don't have to pile on the makeup to make it last. I have seen people, makeup artists, do celebrity makeup natural, wedding makeup natural, and it lasts the entire day. You don't need to pile on the product. Like I say, the only product I do like to pile on a little bit is foundation, but that's just my personal preference because I don't like my freckles and I like to try and cover them, so yeah. So, lip product. So again, my only really tip and secret behind making your lip product last is just making sure they're moisturized. I actually like to use a liner and a lip balm together because I find it then works. Even put a little bit of lipstick in the middle, but the setting spray at the end will also help that to last. Again, just find good products. It may be that if your makeup isn't lasting, you just need to change the products. They may not be any good for your skin type. For me, I know if I use a dry pencil on my lips, or one that's not crayon-y, what do you call it? Not crayon-y, you guys know what I mean, then it won't last because my lips will get dry, it will go flaky, and it will just, where I'm then like doing that constantly, it's gonna come off. And then, like I say, I just like to dab a little lip balm. So I'm taking my Physicians formula, this is my new one, and just dab. It just keeps it moisturized, it keeps it comfortable, and for me, I find if my lips feel okay, I'm not gonna be licking them, I'm just gonna be leaving them alone. Like, you know, sometimes when your lips are dry, you automatically go like that and lick. That's obviously not gonna help your product last. You notice how I keep going, okay, okay, okay. So then last thing I'm going to do is take a setting spray. So two that I would really recommend. The first one is the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is the summer one, it's like the limited edition one. This is really good. It doesn't have a scent or anything like that, and it doesn't give anything extra. It just sets the makeup and it does a really good job. One of my favorite ones is the Shake and Glow from L'Oreal. And this is an illuminating setting spray, but again, I find this sets really well. So again, with a setting spray, hold it at a good distance and make sure you get all of the face. And a little tip that I also learned is dry it. So take something, whatever it is, I'm just taking this palette, and dry it. Don't just let it sit on the face, dry it into the face. I've seen some people use a hairdryer. If you really want to do that, then you can, but for me that's a lot, so I'm just going to take my palette, just dry all of my face, and I find that just helps it work a little bit better. You can layer if you really want to. If you then want to take another one, another setting spray, you can do that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. As I say, if you have any tips that I haven't mentioned, then please leave them below, as I would love to know. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see, what you're interested in seeing. I did a little poll the other day, so I will be sure to follow up with that. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!